This tutorial will show you how to make this adorable baby bow dress from old shirts. This is the first time I'm making a baby outfit, so I used the dress which my friend bought for my daughter in order to create a basic pattern for the bodice. At this stage, you can take the seam allowance into account, so you don't need to worry about it when you cut out your material. For my back piece, I will use the existing shirt placket so I can cut that out of my pattern. Use the pattern to cut out the outer material and the lining material. The front section will need to be cut on the fold. The back section doesn't need to be cut on fold. Once that's done, lay the pieces right sides together and sew along the shoulder. Do the same for the lining material. Before I moved on to the next step, I ironed down the hem for the outer piece and the lining, so that when I attach them together, it will not be bulky. Now I'm going to sew around the neck section right sides together. Once that's done, cut small slits to ease the fabric. I'm going to understitch this section, so to do this I'm opening up the whole section and I will stitch along the lining, catching the slits underneath as I go along. For the back lining panels, I will tuck the edges under and sew. I cut the lining a little bit short here, but it can still work. Moving on to the armholes, I will repeat the same steps as the next section. So attach the outer and lining materials right sides together and sew. Cut the slits along the edge before turning the whole thing's right sides out. The understitching on this section is quite tricky because you will find that there isn't enough space to sew over the shoulder section, but try to get as far as you can. If the understitching is too difficult, you can top stitch it instead. The last thing to do for the bodice is to connect the sides. So pin the lining right sides together and the outer material right sides together and sew. Moving on to the skirt. First you need to measure the circumference of the bodice. Mine is 42 centimeters, so I'll cut out 2 strips of material at 42 by 15 centimeters. I then cut out 2 strips of white material from another shirt at 42 by 5 centimeters long and attach it to the bottom strip of the outer material. I am now left with 2 strips, which I will join together to make one long section. Once that's done, I will fold the white border in half upwards so it becomes 2 centimeters long. I will then fold and sew the edge under to hide the raw edges. I hope that part makes sense. For the top of the strip, I sewed a basting stitch and used the thread ends to gather the skirt until it reaches 42 centimeters or whatever circumference your bodice is. We are almost finished, so now I'm going to attach the skirt to the bodice right sides together with the skirt facing upwards. For my dress, I want the back to be fully open, so instead of closing the skirt off, I will hem each edge and use popper buttons to close off this section. For additional detailing, I will use the cuff from the sleeve of my white shirt to create a bow. Once the bow is made, I will attach it to the dress with small stitches. Okay, off camera I decided to add a popper button here with a non-functional button on the outside to hide the stitching. And there you have a baby bow dress. I really hope you liked this DIY. If you did, please subscribe for more projects and feel free to message me or comment below for suggestions of projects you would like to see me create.